Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we'll be working this April 17, 2023, on a scene from Escape from Maine, known as Bulldog asked Jonah to work the choppers because a guy cut his thumb. And it's about a page long. It's not very long. There's a great scene where the Bulldog kind of kneels and takes off his hat. This is a Yankee manager up in Maine, Guilford. He asked Jonah to work the upstairs choppers. So we'll be working on that scene today, sometime during the day. I've got a lot of time to work on it. And anyway, just wanted to tell you guys, we'll be on the road in just a minute. Linda's doing fine. All right, Kitty, you've got a little bit of pad thai left and some dry food. Tonight, I'm gonna get you your natural Puritan, the kind that you usually get, and you'll have some dry food. Now, I know you're, I know you're pretty healthy, and you've gotten a lot to eat over, I guess a few months or so. You're certainly not the same size as you used to be, but you will have your dry food tonight. And I know that that pate that I fed you earlier, I know that you appreciated that. So I love you, Kitty. Come here. Sorry that I got kind of mad at you for, scratching on the door. It's okay. Hey, he's frisky. You're a frisky cat. You've got sharp claws. There you go. Plenty of cockroaches. Well, not really, not a whole lot, but you'll find something. We're going to get you some dry food tonight. Okay? Give me your paw. Oh, yes. I love you too. Okay? All right? I do love you, kitty. Okay? Throw that away. Be on our way. So we're at 174,732 miles speedometer, and that's 79 degrees Fahrenheit. April 17, 2023. There's a farmer farming. I'm going to talk a little bit about the New Liberty Party. So the New Liberty Party is something I'm going to stay with, regardless if I take on a movie, become a super iconic movie star, or if I just vlog, or if I just continue writing screenplays and talking about HKMP7s. Which a lot of that's just talk. I had Call of Duty, but I also played SOCOM, which I think SOCOM helped me. It was special ops, special operation commands. There's like special op commands. So it was one of my favorite games. We had our own clan. Some of the clan was out of Boston. Some was even overseas. One guy was a soldier that was playing with us. And we had a clan. We get up on Saturday and we go into these, they're like a platform online. So you go onto this site, and then I played a character named HK. If you guys are watching, I'm Heart Killer. Nobody knows that. I'm HK, I'm Heart Killer. So Heart Killer was my username on PlayStation 3, and we would have a blast. Now, I was a telemarketer at the time, so I would go on telemarketing out in Bedford. I worked for a warranty company. I do that for about 8 hours of the day, selling warranties. And then the team right across from me would sell warranties to cars. They do extended warranties for cars, but we did for electronics, even computers and things like that, refrigerators, all kinds of stuff. Just people that wanted to extend their warranty on a product that they may not want to go buy again if something was a problem. Okay, now, we can't really extend the warranty on the country. When it comes to a citizen, I think they need to be armed as in citizens, okay? To the gill. Okay, I don't even care if they own bazookas, mortar rounds, grenades, flak vest, Kevlar, machine gun, fully automatic, just no holds barred. We have to be that country in order to hold that country. Now, when it comes to authority figures, police, I think it should be regulated with the police. It's a good role model for police officers because, listen, if the police step up first and say, hey, we're going to be the first to regulate, okay? The citizens are always going to be free, and they're going to respect that an officer. Imagine if an officer, pulled you over and had no sidearm. They have the right. There's guys who've gone to war that did not have weaponry. It's not going to be immediate, like, let's attack the guy, especially if he knows how to handle himself and he's got a good stun gun and he's got good communication. So yes, regulation within the police force. Now, I say disarm because I have to be a radical. If I'm not a radical, nothing's going to be done. So one guy's got to be a radical, another guy's got to meet somewhere in the middle. So there's regulation. So the New Liberty Party, what the New Liberty Party wants to do, first of all, is we want to get rid of all these authority figures that are killing people on accident, or it looks like murder, and then it becomes manslaughter, and then it becomes murder, and then they go to prison. So we want to watch out for the guys that put their life out on the line first in the New Liberty Party. These are guys that will sacrifice themselves. They'll step in front of a bullet and die for you, okay? My ex-brother-in-law is a chief of police, but I think the first thing that we need to do in the country is regulate that, because we just had an incident in New Mexico. Farmington Police Department is already apologizing. They gunned down a husband. These guys are probably going to go to prison, and it's wrong for cops to go into a police academy with an option of going to prison. Now listen, let me talk about prison, okay? I was a banker for 4 years, and we'd hear it every day. You put this in wrong right here, you could go to prison. We hear it every single day, and it got on my nerves after a while. We're also going to regulate prison, you know? I'm not going to make it easy for a police officer to dodge anything, or, you know, when it comes to accidentally killing someone, they'd be put in the same situation as any citizen. But why is it important for a country to be armed to the gill? Because we have to protect the Constitution. We have to protect it. We have to be radicals to a certain extent, or they'll come in and they'll take it away. They will. And we're not going to allow that to happen. Everybody knows in all 50 states, every single 50 state, okay? We're talking from Alaska, Maine, all the way down to Texas. Everybody knows, even Florida, that the Americans are not going to give up their weapons. So they're just not going to do it. Now, am I a big weapon guy? Am I going out to gun ranges? No, I'm not like that. Everybody knows me. I practice a little bit of jiu-jitsu myself in self-defense. But listen, there's always rocks. There's always butter knives that can be filed down to, you know, there's always weaponry. People are always going to have it. It's just not going to disappear. They have it in the UK, even though police officers don't have weapons. They don't have lethal sidearms in the UK. They have SWAT divisions that do. So the New Liberty Party is going to look at police regulation and find ways where we can possibly have a team of people. So we've got guys that don't have the lethal sidearm, then we've got a SWAT team. That way, listen, the Farmington police incident, if those guys did not have their sidearm, that guy'd be alive. Did that guy even fire his gun? And even if he did, those guys could go run, the cops could go run into their vehicles and call SWAT. You know, not that they should do that. They shouldn't really do that in that situation. That's just an angry homeowner that has a gun that got killed. We need to stop that. Hey, listen, that's a big deal. If I step up in the country and I say, listen, I'm going to stop all, not only police corruption, but I'm going to stop all of that nonsense when it comes to people getting shot, either on like a traffic stop or in their home. I'm going to find a way. We're going to study it, and we're going to find a way to prevent that from happening. And listen, we would save money by having officers that didn't have lethal sidearms. And they'd step up and do it. There's plenty of guys. There's plenty of first responders that would step up and do it, without a doubt. There's a movie I want to quote, No Country for Old Men, that was written by Cormac McCarthy. And there's a monologue there. He talks about the old guys didn't even have a gun on them, and they still practice law enforcement. They didn't even have a gun on them. This is a true story. And they practice law enforcement. So first, we have the brave ones step up and say, listen, I'll still operate without my lethal sidearm. I don't have a problem with it. That's the first thing. Then the second thing, we initiate that the citizens that have the legal right, they have not only the legal right, but they have the constitutional right, is a better way of saying it. They have a constitutional right to carry whatever type of weapon they want. To a long sword, to a bazooka. Now, I'm not going to say, you know, that having a bazooka is a good thing, but we can't. How would the country ever start a militia if people within the country wanted to start their own militia? How would they be able to do it if we regulated what they could buy? It says in the Constitution that we can start our own militia. What is a militia? Look up the word militia. It's a militant force. We have the right to establish our own militant force and retake the country. That's the new Liberty Party. It's not the Liberty Party, it's the new Liberty Party. So first, we'll be armed. Don't dare think that we won't be armed, okay? I'll be armed with this, with a pen. That's my thing, okay? That's what I'll be armed with, is a pen. Not that I'm going to, all Born Identity, but I'll write down the laws the best that I can. I do not appreciate Biden. I don't appreciate Biden any longer. He promised police reform. We've had too many horrible incidents and too many police officers go to prison the last few months. And it's got to stop quick. It's becoming a revolution and we got to get it under control. Now, nothing to fear in the new Liberty Party. It's not just about that. We're also going to be pro-life. Why? Because it's bad to teach the woman to abort their child. We're going to be pro-life. We're going to enact laws where we're going to make abortion illegal in all 50 states. Get that out of the way. Now, for health insurance. Health insurance is going to be a private sector and it's going to be a government sector as well. So there's going to be a government aid to health insurance. We're also going to have a poverty-stricken rule. If you're making like $20,000 a year, or you took a vow of poverty because of your religion, and you just want to be a servant, the government will not be able to come after you for tax purposes. You'll go into a grace period, what I'll be calling a saving grace law. Because of the fact that you're a good person and you're out there doing a small job. You're not out there trying to make $1 billion, but you're out there being a service guy. They won't be able to go after you. It just would be ridiculous. Okay? We have a lot to do. But we have to start with the first responders because they represent us, even medical field. Now, I had a doctor push me. That probably has to do with the fact that maybe there's too much going on in the ER rooms. He didn't push me like where I, completely fell over and hit my head or anything, but I pretty much lost my balance, and the guy was really upset about something. And I was trying to explain to him that I was a Baptist and I cared for my wife, and, he got upset with me for that. So we have to monitor our medical field. So why is this guy pushing someone else? Okay, yeah. So he went in and he said he was a Baptist and he said he cared about his wife's thumb because Linda cut her thumb. What's going on with the medical field today? Okay. Now that we got into medical, now marijuana. I think we should make it illegal. I don't think we should tax it and go into that. It's like the anti-prohibition. The prohibition did not work. And if we tax marijuana, then we're trying to state that it's okay to be under the influence of a drug that's maybe not even very good for you. So just outlaw it and keep it off the street. Don't make the cartel more powerful than what they already are. So outlaw it. Don't make it legal. Outlaw it. We never wanted it to be legal. Alcohol. We need to regulate it and control it within the community. We need to help people that become addicted and that are, living a miserable life hooked on alcohol and beer and wine and liquor. We need to give them medical aid, and the government needs to okay, this is one thing that I really want to enact. It's like a Kaiser Permanente plan like Bill Clinton had, but for rehabilitation. Because of COVID and Corona, people have become horrible alcoholics. Alcoholism has gotten way out of hand. So we need to establish rehabilitation centers that are free. And all you have to do is walk up and say, look, I'm an alcoholic. Can I get medical help? They'll take you in and begin therapy on you immediately without any charge. A rehabilitation center is like thousands of dollars a day. It could be $10,000 a week or even more. It's horrible. So we provide these free rehabilitation centers that come in that are reacting to coronavirus and people that have gone kind of crazy and have decided to take alcohol as a way out. We find ways to rehabilitate America. Now, I say make America good again, not great. The New Liberty Party wants to make it good again. We don't need to try to be these great things, these gods. We already have a God, it's Jesus Christ. Now, will I mention the Christian Coalition? I'm not the ideal Christian. I need forgiveness like everybody. But will I mention them? Sure. Establish a thicker line between church and state. Allow the churches to operate. Sermons, we don't need to record someone's sermon. Well, of course, you're recording my sermon. But we don't need to record a minister's sermon. We have to trust in the church. That's the Trinity River right there. We have to trust in our ministers and our churches and appreciate them and not record them like communists. They should not have to turn in anything to any government entity at all. My pastor, even though I've had troubles with church, but my pastor, one of the greatest pastors ever come across, Josh Smith, prayed before Congress. He prayed mentioning Psalms, and he prays for this country. And I think having a thicker line between church and state means that we are able to worship the way that we want, regardless of your religion. It does not have to be Jesus Christ, although I suggest it. But it does not have to be Jesus Christ. You can worship any way you want to. Some call him Yeshua. Some call him salvation. You can have your own belief system and you don't have to turn anything into the government. A thicker line between church and state. Now, of course, I'm not an expert on the Constitution, but we all need to review it and break it out and study it. So have a group of people within the government, with even in White House, that studies the Constitution, that analyzes the Constitution, and makes agreements on what the Constitution is. That is the new Liberty Party. I approve of this message. My name is Cole Spivey. Now, I listened to my speech, and yes, I said I'm not against taking a weapon away from like a dangerous person. No, I'm not against that. And I must have said that for a reason. I think God guides my tongue for a reason. I'm not against that. If someone is dangerous, we don't provide them weaponry. We just don't do that. I'm not against that. But I do believe that Americans should be armed to the gill. I do believe they should have their own weapons because we have the right to form our own militia. But there is problems with mass shootings. So we're going to talk about mass shootings. One way is we're going to protect our schools by having kind of like a lockdown system, and also bulletproof glass and metal doors where they can't be broken into. We're going to have that. And we're also going to have it in places where we shop. And we're just going to prepare these little castles throughout America. We're always going to be on standby in public places. So I think that's a good idea too. So I just ran across a guy that wanted to fix a dent in my car for $280 because, he's a Latino guy going around probably helping in different ways. And I don't even think he was illegal. I think he was just a regular citizen. So we're going to talk about racism with the new Liberty Party and about how it exists in schools, how it exists in church, how it exists in community. And it's there in all aspects of life. And some guys have it really hard just because they're from a different nation. Now, I come from the Apache. My Papa Joe was half Apache, last name Looney. So I probably could be on a tribal scroll. 1% of the population is Native American. And 1% of the population in schools are also Native American, and most all of them fell out of school. They don't do well, and it's sad that the Native American is only at 1%. So I want to address real racism. Now, we see it with Trump, we see it with Biden. There's racism with Biden, and we see it with Trump as well. And I'm going to address the fact that racism is sometimes, even though it becomes kind of accidental, it's within our country, okay? We don't need to say, oh, well, I'm racist because it's just a natural thing. We need to address it and protect it from our children so that our children do not suffer from racism. And that includes every nation, from the Jew to the Greek, to the Asian, to every single culture needs to be addressed when it comes to racism, because racism has gotten bad. Okay, so we know that racism exists. We need to address it in the schools. We need to celebrate Martin Luther King Day. We need to celebrate Asian culture. We need to celebrate the Native American culture, the Apache culture. Go back and celebrate it, not only by watching shows and movies and plays and putting on plays at schools that are multicultural. We need to celebrate. Multiculturalism is about celebration. So we need to celebrate people and their nations first, too. Now, I'm saying, okay, first responders first. We'll also celebrate all the nations first as well. So we're not doing these racial profiling stops and things like that. We need to stop racism everywhere, throughout medical field, throughout housing, real estate. Did you know when you go to a bank, they ask you your nation? They'll ask you what nation you represent at a bank. They will before they give you a loan. They want to know where you come from, what the color of your skin. That will all stop. We'll stop that immediately as the New Liberty Party rises up. We'll attack that and say, no, you cannot ask someone the color of their skin. You cannot ask someone at a workplace what nation they represent. Just get rid of it, because that's where racism lies. It lies in the question. It lies to you in the question. Who are you? Where are you from? That's the first thing Apollyon asked in Pilgrim's Progress. Who are you and where are you going? Where did you come from and where are you going? What nation do you represent and where are you going? No, we'll get rid of those questions when it comes to asking for a loan and trying to be fair, especially in housing. My wife and children, we were not approved of a loan. It could have been because of my nationality being Apache. We were not approved for the housing loan, so we never got in the house. Now, I've not seen my children in 3 years. I've not seen my wife in 3 years. And my wife is special. I'm talking about my ex-wife, Angel. She was born with spina bifida, and she was also born with neurocardiogenic syncope, where she has this thing where she can pass out. And we had to deal with it in the medical field, and it was tough. She did get good medical care. I'm not going to lie to you. We did find good medical care, but we had to hunt for it. And at times, I saw things in the ER dealing with my wife's sickness that was hard to look at because of some of the uneducated doctors and things that went on with her, and also her going into postpartum from after having children and going into severe depression. Now we're going to talk about the woman in America. Now, I am pro-life, but I do think women should have the ability to work in a market where it's fair, and even handicapped women, just as my wife, should have the ability to work in the market where she can only stand for 30 minutes at a time. So we're going to address the handicap, and we're going to address the women that are able, and we're going to address some things that women are under attack, especially when it comes to drug and alcohol. And, the abortion issue is going to be tough because I'm pro-life, but they're under attack because they're being miseducated. They're being taught that it's okay to abort a child. It's not okay. Murder is not okay. So women need to understand that abortion is wrong, it's evil, and it's not going to win in this country. The country is against it. But they need to understand that they have the right to procreate as they wish. But once the child's heartbeat is there, that already becomes a state issue, and that child deserves to live. We are all abortion survivors. There's an invisible Holocaust going on, and we're all abortion survivors. We have survived abortion. So once the child has a heartbeat, allow it to live so that they're educated properly. They can have any job they want. They can do whatever they want. They can be any type of artist, any type of creator they want. They can go out and produce in society, but they cannot stop that heartbeat. So we're going to educate them and let them know that there can be consequences. They can be held accountable and will be held accountable for aborting a child. It's a New Liberty Party. It's Cole Spivey. I do approve of this message. They're all the way from Florida. So life does move pretty fast, and if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you can miss it. Ferris Bueller. All right, so eventually we'll pick down all the small details, but you have to start with the general aspect. You have to say, look, things need to be celebrated. There's a world out there that doesn't appreciate multiculturalism. That's also a first thing for a country to celebrate. How many times did you ever hear Trump talk about multiculturalism? Hey, let me ask you this. How many times has it escaped the mouth of Joe Biden? And here's a president that worked with Barack Obama. How many times has he talked about multiculturalism? 0. How many presidents has gone out there and said, I want to celebrate multiculturalism? Everything from the gay culture to the Asian culture to Native American to African to Indian. How many? If we can't celebrate things, then how are we going to protect things? If we're not allowed to celebrate. None of them have said it. Has any of them ever mentioned my name or my show? No, they won't. There's a problem with the boomer generation. They're older, they're bitter, and they want their way on small things. All they want in life are the small things, and that's fine. Those are good things to want. But their children are bigger things. Now I come from Generation X, where we were kind of looked over. We were looked over and we were just kind of like, here's this lonely guy on a bench eating a salad. But I'm not. I plan to go all the way. I plan to start a campaign, build up, tell people about the New Liberty Party, and then I plan to eventually run for office. And I plan to be your Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America. Now that's gonna be hard to do, but I think I've been chosen to do this. One of my best friends was the United States Marine Corps and died in his second tour in Afghan over a war that we could not celebrate their culture. We could not celebrate the Afghan people. We could not celebrate the Iraqi people. Instead, we bombed them for oil, and we bombed them for political reasons. Was bin Laden the only one? Osama bin Laden, was he the only one behind September 11th? I witnessed September 11th. I was blocks away. I smelled the smoke. I saw the people dying. You think Obama did the right thing? Well, we don't know if Osama bin Laden was the only one, but he was stopped. He was stopped. But he wasn't the only one behind it. There were other evil forces behind the destruction of 3,000 people on the day of September 11th at 10 o'clock in the morning. Around, was it like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning when everyone started dying. Many people were behind that. But we used Osama bin Laden as a, this Geronimo, this evil force. And also, how are we gonna celebrate multiculturalism and Native Americans if we're naming the call name Geronimo? Meaning they had killed Osama bin Laden, and the code name was Geronimo. They had killed the Native American. Right, because his family was from America. Am I against the execution of Osama bin Laden? Well, it's good that we stopped that force so we can look over our country, but I don't think we rid it all. I don't think we got rid of it all. So yes, we do need defense, but we don't need to just go kill people because, oh, well, he must have been behind it. Maybe he was. But do you see what I'm saying? Did we ever go back and celebrate the culture? What about the rest of Osama bin Laden's family? Are we celebrating his family? No. We have decided as a country in the United States of America, we have decided to find enemies within our own country. We're in a war within a war. We're gonna find an enemy. We're gonna name that enemy, and then we're gonna destroy that enemy. You wanna be in that country? No. I don't wanna be in that country either. I want a new country, a new liberty. I don't wanna pick names. and go, let's kill that person because of this. You ever read The Crucible by Arthur Miller? It's about McCarthyism. Everyone's choosing a name and a culture to go out and do this witch hunt and kill, kill, kill. When Foster, before he died, on his second tour, he sent me letters from the United States Marine Corps telling me that they have taught him how to kill, kill, kill. Do you want to live in a country where they teach you how to kill, kill, kill? Or do you want to live in a country where they teach you peace and love? What's wrong with Jesus Christ and his morals? A man that was a servant, that gave up his life so that you could be what you are today. He sacrificed his own life so that you could live forever. But what's wrong with those morals? A guy that was kind and fed many people. A guy that watched over his people. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with a servant leader? What's wrong with that? Why do we have to have killers? Do I think Trump is a killer? I think there's a side of him that is. Do I think Biden is? Yes, I do. I think Biden wants to kill unborn babies, and he wants to hurt people. He's not reforming the police force. He's enforcing it and hurting you. I've said it before, to impeach Biden, we should, but we have to find something on him. And he knows he's watching every single thing that he does so he doesn't get impeached. But has Biden ever cheated on his taxes? Yeah, he has. And Biden knows it, and he would admit it to me. Biden has. Biden's manipulated the truth in life. Maybe when he was younger, maybe once. Maybe a teacher asked him something, he told a little fib. Yeah, he's cheated. We all have. We've all lied. Everybody's manipulated the truth to protect their own. If Biden were to stand out there today and say, I've never told a lie, we would know that Biden was lying. If Biden walked up to the microphone right now and said, America, I have never told a lie my entire life, we would know that Joe Biden was lying. Trump wouldn't even dare. This country is turned into killers, liars, and people that will do anything to make a dollar, anything to rise above financially. We need to stop that frame of mind. We need to celebrate culture. We need to be multicultural and celebrate. We don't need to lie, thief, and kill because of someone's color of their skin or from their nation. So we need to stop what we're doing, know that we're wrong, and start over new. That's why it's the New Liberty Party. So, God bless. I'll talk to you later.